Today I will be sharing 5 of my family's favorite one-pot meals with you. These one-pot meals are not just perfect for the winter, they're amazing all year round. Plus, these one-pot meals are so easy to throw together, so they're great for those busy weeknights that we all have. Also, they're on the healthier side, but yet they're still super affordable. So you're getting the best of all of the worlds today. Let's get to my kitchen and let's get started. To kick us off today, we are making this easy one-pot sausage pasta. So grab a large pot, add a pound of Italian sausage to your pot. You could use any type of Italian sausage that you like. Break the sausage up and cook it through. Once your sausage is like a brown golden color, just remove any excess grease from your pot. I'm just wiggling a paper towel around in there until most of the grease is gone. Just like that. My mom taught me that trick years ago. But now I'm adding in 24 ounces of marinara sauce and then add in 24 ounces of water. I just added water to that jar of marinara sauce to get any excess marinara sauce out. Next, I'm adding in 10 ounces of pasta shells along with a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of pepper, and a teaspoon of Italian seasoning. You're going to give this a good stir, scrape all of those flavorful bits off the bottom of the pot. Then you're going to cover this with a lid, let it simmer for about 10 to 16 minutes, stirring it occasionally. If you do notice the liquid line gets too low while it's simmering, just add a half a cup more water in at a time until your pasta is tender. Then once your pasta is tender, your house will be smelling so good and you could serve it up. Here's what dinner looks like. We topped ours with a little bit of Parmesan cheese. Whenever I make this dinner, my little ones have bowls and bowls of it. It is definitely little ones approved, and my husband loves it. I love it. You definitely have to try this one out. It is so easy to throw together. Now we're getting started on this lower carb, healthy veggie taco skillet. So to a pan on the stove, add in a pound of ground beef. If you don't want to use ground beef, you could always use ground turkey, ground chicken, or any meat substitute that you like. Just break up your meat and cook it until it's about 80% of the way cooked through. While it's cooking away, I'm just getting started on my veggies. I diced a yellow bell pepper, red bell pepper, a zucchini, and a yellow onion. But now that my ground beef is 80% of the way cooked through, I added those veggies right into the pan. Now stir it around and cook that ground beef through at this point and let those veggies soften. It will take about 3 to 5 more minutes. Now at that point, add in a 14-ounce can of diced tomatoes, then add in 2 tablespoons of taco seasoning, or you could make like homemade taco seasoning. I do have a homemade taco seasoning in the back of my cookbook that you could use. Next, add in 1/4 cup of water and you're going to give this a super duper good stir. You could also add in other vegetables if you like. You don't have to add in the bell peppers, the onion, or the zucchini. You could really make it your own. Add in any veggies that you absolutely love. Now I'm adding in 3 cups of chopped spinach, or you could use chopped kale. Give this a stir and let this simmer covered for about 5 to 10 minutes. You want those veggies to be soft and that spinach to wilt down. At this point, just add a cup of cheese in. If you're a cheese fan like me, let the cheese melt down, then you could serve this beautiful dinner up. Here's what dinner looks like. We topped ours with a little bit of sour cream, lime, cilantro, and black pepper. The lime over the top just makes it so good. If you're looking for a dairy-free option for a dinner, this one is definitely for you. You absolutely do not have to add the cheese into this, and it could be dairy-free so easily. This is also just a great, healthier one-pot dinner option. Now we're getting started on this lasagna skillet, and I've been making this for years and years. To a pot on the stove, add in a pound of sausage. You could use any type of sausage. You could even use ground beef if you'd like. Just break it up and cook it through. Once you do have your sausage cooked through, you will want to remove any excess grease from your pot. And then once it's cooked through, just add in 2 cups of chicken broth, or you could add in beef broth. Add in a dash of salt, and then I added in way too much pepper. I opened up the wrong side, and as you see, a lot of it dumped out, but it still tasted good. I also added in a half a teaspoon of Italian seasoning, half a teaspoon of garlic powder, and onion powder. Now add in 24 ounces of marinara sauce. You could use any brand or any type you like. Next, add in a 14-ounce can of diced tomatoes, then add in 3/4 pound of lasagna noodles. You want to make sure you break those noodles up super small. The smaller you break them, the better. That way they'll cook quicker, and then it's easier to take a bite of the noodle that way, and then like get some of the sauce and the sausage, it just works out best. But add your noodles right in there and you're going to stir this well, scrape all those flavorful bits off the bottom of your pot, put the lid on top and let this simmer on low for about 20 minutes, stirring it occasionally. Now I'm getting started on the cheesy mixture. This is my favorite part. To a bowl, add in your cottage cheese, or you could use ricotta cheese, mozzarella cheese, and a fourth a cup of Parmesan cheese. Give this cheesy mixture a really good stir. Now I'll just set it to the side. If you notice the liquid line gets too low while it is simmering, just add a half a cup more water in at a time until your lasagna is tender. Lasagna does tend to take a little bit longer to simmer other than like spaghetti or other pasta, but once your lasagna is tender, your house will be smelling so good at this point. This recipe is on page 123 in my cookbook. It's in the one pot section, and there's 8 different sections in my cookbook with over 100 recipes. There's so many different yummy recipes in this book. They're kind of like all favorites of ours, but I do have some available if you don't have one yet. But now just add that cheesy mixture right into your pot, give it a stir. Once the cheese melts down, you could serve this up. This lasagna skillet is one of my favorite recipes to make just because I love making it when I don't feel like putting in the effort of making like a whole pan of lasagna. You can make this in just one pot on your stove. It tastes identical to regular lasagna, but it is way less effort. My husband absolutely loves it. He'll eat bowls and bowls of it. Now we're making my all-time favorite chicken stir-fry. I've been making this for years and years. To begin, dice up your veggies. So I diced up 4 large carrots, a red bell pepper, a head of broccoli. Now over to the pan on my stove, I added a tablespoon of olive oil. Now add in a pound of cubed chicken breast. Next, add those vegetables right in there, and then you're going to season them with a half a teaspoon of salt and a teaspoon of pepper. I do want to let you know for this recipe, you could always use different vegetables. You could half this recipe easily, or you could double it easily. You could really make it your own so easily, but just give this a stir, let it cook for 8 to 10 minutes, stirring it occasionally until that chicken's cooked through. But we're getting started on the stir-fry sauce now. So into this bowl, I added a tablespoon of cornstarch and a third a cup of chicken broth. Whisk those 2 ingredients well until that cornstarch is no longer clumpy. Now add in a fourth a cup of low-sodium soy sauce and 3 tablespoons of honey. Whisk this well until that honey is incorporated in with the rest of the ingredients. But now that my chicken's cooked through, I'm adding in a tablespoon of minced garlic and minced ginger. Stir it until it's fragrant. It should only take about 15 seconds or so. Now you're going to stir in that stir-fry sauce. You're going to stir it around, let it cook and simmer for a couple of minutes until it is like sticky and coats the chicken and the vegetables. Then you could serve it up. We served our chicken stir-fry over a bed of white rice. If you want to, you can make this chicken stir-fry instead of the chicken. You can make it with tofu, or you can make it with thin steak or ground beef. I've done that before and it turns out so good, but I've been making this for years and years, and this is the only chicken stir-fry I make anymore. Now we're getting started on this white chicken chili, and I want to show you how I like to boil my chicken when I don't do it in my Instant Pot. So for this recipe, you need about 3 chicken breasts. So add your chicken into a large pot on the stove, and then I like to add in a cubed onion. It makes the chicken so flavorsome. Add in a dash of salt and pepper, and then add in some chicken bouillon. I really like the flavor of this Knorr chicken bouillon. I'm adding in about 1.5 tablespoons. Let this simmer on your stove for about 20 minutes, and this is a great alternative to like using your Instant Pot for boiling chicken. But to a large pot on the stove while the chicken's cooking, add in a tablespoon of olive oil, a diced yellow onion, and a tablespoon of minced garlic. Let this cook for about 7 minutes. Once the cooking time is up, add in your seasonings. I'm using 2 teaspoons of chili powder, 1.5 teaspoons of cumin, and a teaspoon of oregano. Give this a stir. Let the seasonings cook in with the onion and the garlic for a couple of minutes. That is going to make the seasonings extra bold. But now that my chicken is through cooking on the stove, I'm just going to remove my chicken to a bowl, and then you could either shred or you could chop up your chicken, whatever you choose to do so. Today I just decided to chop up my chicken into smaller pieces. But now back over to the pot on my stove, I'm adding in 3 15-ounce cans of drained Great Northern beans. You have to trust me, this chili turns out so good. Next, add in 1 cup of corn, and then you're going to add in 1 can of diced green chilies. I'm using a larger can. You could also use a smaller can, or you could use jalapenos. It just adds a little bit of extra flavor, but not really heat at all. Then I added in my chicken, and now you need 4 cups of chicken broth. I'm just using the broth that the chicken made cooking on the stove, but you could use any type of chicken broth that you'd like. Also add in a dash of salt and give this a stir. You're going to want to let this simmer covered for about 10 minutes. While this is simmering, I am going to get started on the butter flour slurry. So I have 2 tablespoons of softened butter here. I added a tablespoon and a half of flour to it. Just stir it super well until it is like silky and smooth. You don't want that flour to be clumpy. You want it nice and smooth, just like this. Now I'm going to set this flour slurry to the side and back over to my chili. Now that my simmering time is up, I actually have this recipe on page 136 in my cookbook. This recipe actually comes from my sister-in-law. She has been making it for years and years, and now we just make this chili all the time, and I had to add it into my cookbook just because we love it so much. It is seriously the best white chicken chili. It is so good. But now I'm adding that flour butter slurry right into the pot. Give it a stir and let it simmer covered for a couple more minutes. This will help slightly thicken it up. It adds a lot of rich, delicious flavor as well. At the end of the simmering time, this is completely optional, but we like to add in 1/4 cup of heavy whipping cream. It kind of adds a little bit of creaminess, but like I said, it is optional. You don't have to add it in if you don't want to add in the dairy, but here's what it looks like at the end. We like to top ours with a lime and cilantro, but you could top it with cheese, sour cream. We've done that in the past, and it is so good. This is seriously the best white chicken chili you will ever make. It's phenomenal. I would really love to have you over here, so make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the next video. Bye for now.